Let's go with, I'm going to do something else. It's going to sound like this is another Islam thing, but I'm going to do it because I feel like I just got to also say this. I really want to hit this. And the reason I want to talk about this is because aside from the shrill voices of negativity that are directed toward immigrants coming up through Mexico, I rarely hear the kind of poisonous rhetoric toward a group that I hear toward Muslims by many people, or some people in the United States who have the power to really divide. And one thing that's important to understand is the more we divide us, the more the power vacuum just gets held or in place or filled by people who have a vested interest in filling that vacuum. This is something, when I talked about anti-Semitism, I talked a little bit about this, but look, this is that Dylan Roof, the young man who took a gun and went into a black church and started killing people because he thought in his Christian beliefs that that's what he should do. So he is then a Christian warrior for Christ / a terrorist. These folks are Christians. These folks are Christians. They're not. I wouldn't call them Christians, but these are all these are scenes from Charleston. These are all white nationalists and supremacist groups who I fundamentally identify with Christianity. Here are the active hate groups in the United States. Most of them, almost all of them, identify with Christianity. Most of the terrorist acts taking place in the United States are done by Christians. Okay? Again, it's not an attack on Christians. Look at this. This guy, Robert Bowers, who committed the atrocities in the synagogue in Pittsburgh. Jews are the children of Satan. Same thing. So here's my question. How does this guy here come to represent all Muslims? How is it that it's so easy for us to take a small number of really hateful and violent Muslims and imagine in our own created fear that all Muslims are like that, or the majority are like that, or even a significant number are like that? Because nobody would ever say that this guy, a significant number of Christians are like him or think like him. And nobody would ever say that all these groups really represent most Christians. And nobody would ever say that any of these people represent most Christians. So how is it? And it is because we don't know and we don't have the experiences. And then we leave it up to other people who we think know or who have this real desire to divide us and really take us in different directions. So here, one of the other things that happens is we think, because we don't know, we imagine, it's easy to imagine that many Muslims or most Muslims think like this, even when we've never talked to any Muslims. We've never been to a majority Muslim country, and we've certainly never really engaged Islam in any way. And so we still have these ideas. Oh no, they're all like that. And because many of you sat around your dining room tables hearing people with their anti-Muslim rhetoric. And if you bring it up among your family members or your friends, you're going to hear all sorts of crazy stories. But also, you just don't know who the violent Christians are because maybe we're not looking. So let me show you. Just like there are some violent Muslims out there, here's a violent Christian group, the Lord's Resistance Army. So here's one. Right? You ever hear of these guys? So this is a Christian terrorist organization in Africa. So these guys right here are from the Central African Republic, the LRA. And so this guy right here, so the person who did the story said, here's the quote from this dude right here. They're Christians. They base all their beliefs on Jesus. And they base all their beliefs on the Bible, the New Testament of the Bible. And you say, well, they're obviously, if they're killing and massacring people, they're not basing their beliefs on the Bible that I read. Well, neither is this guy basing the beliefs on the Quran that Mullah reads. Right. So here, 1.5, this is just one violent Christian extremist group. And you've never heard of them. Well, just because you never heard of them doesn't mean they don't exist. All I'm trying to do is convince you to treat other people as human beings. Right? Treat other people the way you would want to be treated. This is the golden rule, right? All the religions are saying the same thing. So if I want to be treated in one way, then I got to treat other people in one way. It's really just basic, right, bro? So if I want to say something about these guys, then I got to say something about these guys. It's got to be equally true. So it's like, and if I can't say anything about these guys, then I can't talk about these guys. Bro.
That was exactly my point. Like, why not call them out?
Why not call these guys?
The Christians. You said you're not trying to paint them in a certain light, but why is it not equal? Why do we just highlight one aspect and not the other? I mean, we can call them out. Call them out.
Nah, because here's why. Because I don't have an axe to grind per se. Okay, I don't really have an axe to grind. Like, first off, because there are a lot of Christians in here who are going to think I'm trying to attack Christianity, and I'm not. I'm not at all.
Isn't that perspective? Like, you're perceiving that I'm attacking Christianity, just like we're perceiving that they're attacking Islam. So that means that's a you problem.
Yeah, I got you, dude. Yeah, I'm with you on that. Yep, I hear that, and I think what I want is, if I'm gonna like point at you for something, and you can point at me for the same thing, then it's like, okay, that's all I want. That's all I do as a teacher. You know what I mean? So, yep, I think you get that. Yeah, I mean, you do get that. You see that. No, the only people I'm going to call out right now are people who think that somehow it's different. But Muslims are different, who've never even heard of these guys, and never heard of all the other groups around the world who are doing the same kind of stuff, right? Just because you don't look at it doesn't mean they don't exist, right? Well, Christians don't do that. Seriously? What Christian? Where have you studied in the world? You know what I mean? Like,
exactly, like the gentleman who just got killed on the Forbidden Island off the Indian waters.
Yeah,
to go teach Christianity to the last savages of the planet.
Yeah.
Who said they were savages? Why are you there?
Yeah. Taking
the word of Christ somewhere you don't even belong.
Yeah. Okay, well, I'm not going to go there. All right, you could say that. I'm not going to say that. Does anyone want to say anything here? Do you get it? Are there any Christians, can I just ask you this? Can someone please, are there any Christians who in the last 10 minutes have had an aha moment? Like, oh my God, wait, I think maybe I see something.
You're just preaching what I've been trying to tell my family for so long, and I hope they're watching the live stream.
And what have you been trying to tell them?
No, just like what the other girl said the other day, like if we sit down at Easter and we're very Catholic and you bring up Muslims or you hear of some heinous crime, they'll be like, oh, it's those N-words. It's, oh, those Muslims. And I'm like, you don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, well, hang on. So a heinous crime might be a Muslim, right? So the Muslim that picked up a gun and shot, there are Muslims who have picked up guns and they've shot people here in the United States.
But why can't it be Christians? Why isn't it not the same amount of chance that it is like one or the other? Why is it automatically like Muslims?
Yeah, or it's not, even if it's not automatically Muslims, like why is it that that's the one we focus on and we don't focus on the other folks? Yeah, why is that? I don't know, because it's just easier, because we're taught to hate, man.